I wish to discuss how to prepare yourself to receive this miracle that is already yours. For receiving is an art, just as giving is an art. And most of us have been trained to believe that receiving requires effort, struggle, and worthiness, when in truth, receiving is simply a state of consciousness, a feeling and acceptance of what already is. All things whatsoever ye pray and ask for, believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them. This statement from Mark 11:24 contains the entire secret of successful prayer. It is not about asking or beseeching some external power for what you desire. Rather, it is about assuming the feeling of already having what you desire. And when you assume this feeling, the miracle that seemed external to you begins to unfold in your world. Let me share with you a principle that has guided my understanding. Imagination creates reality. Your imagination is not a fantasy-making faculty designed to escape reality. No, your imagination is the very substance of reality, the creative power through which God operates in you as you. The eternal body of man is the imagination, and that is God himself, as Blake so beautifully expressed it. When I speak of a miracle coming your way, I am speaking of the natural unfoldment that occurs when you align your consciousness with your desire. For the state you occupy mentally and emotionally is the state you will occupy physically. This is law. This is how your world is shaped. And if you would receive your miracle, you must first learn to occupy the state of its fulfillment in your imagination. Many of you come to me and ask, how can I manifest this desire? How can I make this dream come true? And I say to you, you do not manifest your desire, you manifest what you are. Your world is a perfect reflection of your state of consciousness. Therefore, to change your world, you must change your concept of self. You must dare to assume that you are already the person you wish to be, living in the circumstances you wish to experience. The greatest miracle that can come your way is the discovery of your own divine nature, the realization that you are God in expression, that the creative power of the universe flows through you as naturally as breath. And with this realization comes the understanding that all things are possible to you, for all things are possible to God. Now let us explore the practical application of this principle. How do you prepare yourself to receive the miracle that is rightfully yours? First, you must clarify in your mind exactly what you desire. Many people live in a perpetual state of vague wishing, never crystallizing their desires into clear, definite form. But God, the creative power within you, can only work with definiteness. Therefore, know precisely what you want. Once you have clarified your desire, you must then assume the feeling of already having fulfilled that desire. This is the cardinal secret, my dear friends. This is the art of prayer. Prayer is not begging, prayer is thanksgiving. Prayer is the feeling of gratitude for already having received what you desire. When you pray in this manner, you are aligning yourself with the natural creative flow of the universe. I recall a lady who came to me in dire financial circumstances. She was facing eviction from her apartment and had exhausted all conventional resources. I advised her to assume just before sleep each night that she was falling asleep in a lovely home that belonged to her, feeling the security and peace that comes with such ownership. I told her to persist in this assumption, regardless of any contradictory evidence presented by her senses. Within 1 month, a distant relative whom she had not spoken to in many years unexpectedly passed away, leaving her beautiful home free and clear of any debt. This is the law in operation. She assumed a state of secure home ownership in her imagination, and that state externalized itself in her world. But let me caution you, this principle requires persistence. The habits of thought that have created your present circumstances will resist change. Your conscious assumption must be repeated, must be nurtured, must be persisted in until it takes root in the subconscious mind. And when it does take root, nothing in this world can prevent its manifestation. The miracle you seek is already completed in what I call the fourth dimensional self. In the dimension of consciousness, time is not linear as we experience it here. All states exist now, and the state you wish to occupy already exists in its completeness. Your task is not to create it, but to enter it through the portal of your imagination. Imagine, if you will, that your life is like a vast mansion with countless rooms. Each room represents a different state of consciousness, a different set of circumstances, a different expression of self. The miracle you seek is simply occupying a different room in the mansion of your being. And the key to that room is your assumption, your controlled imagination. Tonight, as you fall asleep, I urge you to imagine that you are experiencing the fulfillment of your heart's desire. Feel the joy, the relief, the satisfaction of having what you longed for. Do not concern yourself with the how or the when. Those details belong to God, to the creative wisdom of your deeper self. Your responsibility is simply to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The Bible tells us faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith, your controlled imagination, your assumption is the very substance that will clothe itself in the material facts of your experience. It is the evidence that precedes physical manifestation. I have tested this principle in countless ways in my own life and in the lives of those who have come to me for counsel. It never fails. It cannot fail, for it is law. Just as the law of gravity operates without regard to your beliefs or opinions about it, so too does the law of assumption operate with mathematical precision. Assume you have your desire, and if you persist in that assumption, it must materialize in your world. Now, some of you may be wondering, what if I have multiple desires? What if there are many miracles I wish to experience? The answer is simple: work on one desire at a time. Choose the desire that, if fulfilled, would bring you the greatest joy, and focus your creative attention on that. When that desire has been realized, move on to the next. The human imagination can be likened to a garden. The thoughts and assumptions you plant today become the facts of tomorrow's harvest. Plant with care, with deliberation, with confidence in the perfect law that governs all creation. I recall a man who desired to double his income. He was working in a field where such an increase seemed impossible, according to conventional wisdom. Yet he faithfully assumed that he was already earning twice his current salary. He would mentally revise his pay stubs, seeing the larger amount. He would feel the relief and security of having that additional income. Within 6 months, he was offered a position in a completely different industry, one he had never even considered, at exactly twice his previous salary. The miracle that awaits you may come in an unexpected form, through an unexpected channel. Do not limit God by insisting on a particular method of fulfillment. Focus only on the end, the state of fulfillment, and let the infinite wisdom of your deeper self determine the bridge of incidents that will lead to the manifestation of your desire. Remember, my dear friends, that creation is finished. All states exist now. I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. The state you wish to occupy already exists in its completeness. Your task is not to create it, but to claim it, to enter it through the power of your assumption. Tonight, I challenge you to test this principle. Choose a desire that seems beyond your reach according to your present circumstances. It may be related to your health, your finances, your relationships, or any other aspect of your life. Clarify exactly what you want. Then, as you prepare for sleep, assume that you already have it. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the fulfillment of possession. Do this night after night and watch as the miracle unfolds in your world. The miracle is coming to you because you are coming to it. You are moving into the state where the desire is already fulfilled. And as you occupy that state faithfully in your imagination, the outer circumstances of your life must reshape themselves to reflect your inner conviction. There is a story I often share about a young woman who desired marriage with a specific man. This man had shown no romantic interest in her whatsoever. In fact, he was dating another woman and had expressed his intention to marry her. The young woman came to me in desperation, asking if there was anything to be done. I instructed her to assume each night as she fell asleep that she was lying beside this man as his wife. I told her to feel his presence, to feel the wedding ring on her finger, to hear him call her by her married name. She did this faithfully for several weeks. One day, the man called her unexpectedly. His relationship with the other woman had ended abruptly, and he found himself thinking of her. They began dating, and within 6 months they were married. The outer circumstances rearrange themselves to conform to her inner assumption. This is not manipulation, my friends. This is not about controlling others or forcing events. It is about entering the state where your desire is fulfilled and allowing the wisdom of your deeper self to bring about the conditions necessary for its manifestation. The great mystic Meister Eckhart said, God is I am. This divine presence, this creative power, is your very being. When you say I am, you are invoking the name of God. And whatever you attach to that divine name, whether positive or negative, you are decreeing for yourself. Be careful then of what you claim with the words I am. For I am is the beginning of creation. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I am loved. These are divine decrees that must externalize themselves in your experience if you persist in them. Conversely, I am poor, I am sick, I am unlucky. These two are decrees that will manifest in your world. The power does not lie in the condition, but in the I am that precedes it. The miracle that is coming your way is already in existence, waiting for your recognition. It exists in the dimension of consciousness, in what I call the fourth dimension. From this dimension, all things flow into the three-dimensional world of our physical experience. To enter this fourth dimension, you must silence the senses. You must temporarily shut out the evidence of the three-dimensional world and enter the chamber of your imagination. There, in that quiet place, you can assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. And that feeling persisted in will harden into fact in your three-dimensional experience. Many of us have been taught that seeing is believing. But I say to you, believing is seeing. What you believe in your heart, what you faithfully assume to be true, will ultimately be seen in your world. This is the true meaning of faith. Faith is not hoping or wishing. Faith is the conviction of the reality of the unseen. The miracle you seek may seem distant or even impossible according to your present circumstances. But I assure you it is nearer than your breath, closer than your heartbeat. It exists now in the realm of consciousness, and through your faithful assumption, it will be drawn into your physical experience. I want to share with you a practical technique that has helped many realize their desired miracles. I call it revision. Each night before you sleep, review the events of your day. If any event was less than perfect, if there was conflict, disappointment, or failure, revise it in your imagination. See it unfolding differently, in a way that aligns with your desires. For instance, if you had a disagreement with a colleague, revise the scene. Imagine the conversation proceeding harmoniously with mutual understanding and respect. Feel the satisfaction of this harmonious exchange. This is not mere fantasy. This is the actual reshaping of your world. The Bible tells us the kingdom of God is within you. This kingdom is the realm of imagination, the fourth dimension, from which all creation flows. It is the realm of the miraculous where all things are possible. And it is within you, accessible through your controlled imagination. The miracle that is coming your way is not dependent on external conditions or other people's actions. It is dependent solely on your state of consciousness. Change your concept of self and you change your world. For the world is yourself pushed out. I recall a gentleman who desired a promotion at work. He had been passed over several times, and according to office politics, he was not next in line for advancement. I advised him to assume each night before sleep that he had already received the promotion. I told him to hear the congratulations of his colleagues, to feel the satisfaction of the increased responsibility and compensation. Within 2 weeks, the person who held the position he desired unexpectedly resigned to pursue another opportunity. Despite the established protocols, he was offered the position. The outer circumstances rearranged themselves to conform to his inner assumption. This principle applies to every aspect of your life, your health, your relationships, your financial situation, your professional status. Whatever you desire to experience, assume that you are already experiencing it. Feel the reality of its fulfillment. Persist in this assumption, and it must manifest in your world. Some may call this magical thinking, but I assure you, it is the most practical, scientific approach to deliberate creation. For your assumptions persisted in become your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your perceptions. Your perceptions influence your actions. And your actions determine your results. The sequence begins with your assumption, the seed from which your miracle grows. Plant that seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind through the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and it will grow into the manifest fact of your experience. The miracle you are preparing to receive is not something that will happen to you. It is something that will happen in you. It is a shift in consciousness, a new self-concept, a new definition of reality. And from that inner shift, all outer conditions must change. I want to emphasize again the importance of feeling in this process. It is not enough to intellectually affirm your desire. You must feel it, emotionally experience it as real. For feeling is the language of the subconscious mind, and it is through the subconscious that your assumptions are realized. When you lie down to sleep tonight, enter into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. What would it feel like if your desire were already realized? Would you feel relief, joy, security, peace? Whatever the feeling would be, immerse yourself in it as you drift off to sleep. This plants your assumption deep in the subconscious, where it will begin to grow into objective fact. The sleep state is particularly effective for this practice because in sleep, the conscious, rational mind is temporarily suspended. The barriers of disbelief and doubt are lowered, allowing your assumption to take root more deeply in the subconscious. I have observed that many people sabotage their miracles through conflicting assumptions. They assume the fulfillment of their desire when they engage in conscious prayer or visualization, but then assume its absence or impossibility in their daily thinking and conversation. Remember, what you assume throughout the day is also creative. Be vigilant in maintaining the assumption of your wish fulfilled in all your thinking. The biblical story of the prodigal son beautifully illustrates the principle I am sharing with you tonight. The son, having squandered his inheritance, decides to return home. But notice what the father says when he sees his son approaching. This my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. The father does not say, my son will be alive, he will be found. He speaks in the present tense, declaring the completed reality. This is the language of successful prayer, the language of miraculous manifestation. Speak of your desires already fulfilled, already realized, already accomplished. The miracle you seek is already finished in the mind of God in your own wonderful human imagination. Your task is to align your conscious thinking with this completed reality, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to live from the end. I am often asked, how long would it take for my desire to manifest? The answer depends on the intensity of your assumption and the naturalness with which you can feel your wish fulfilled. For some, manifestation is instantaneous. For others, it may take weeks or months. But this I can assure you, if you persist in your assumption, manifestation is certain. The Bible promises, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Your miracle is on its way to you at this very moment, moving toward you through a series of events, a bridge of incidents, orchestrated by the infinite wisdom of your deeper self. Do not be concerned with the how. Do not try to manipulate external circumstances or control other people's actions. Focus solely on maintaining the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and let the creative power within you determine the path of least resistance to its manifestation. I would like to share with you a powerful practice that will help you receive your miracle. It is the practice of gratitude. Gratitude is the feeling that accompanies the fulfillment of desire. When your desire is realized, you naturally feel grateful. By deliberately cultivating gratitude now before the physical manifestation, you are affirming that your desire is already fulfilled in consciousness. Each day, take time to give thanks for the fulfillment of your desire. Feel the gratitude deep in your heart. Let it permeate your being. This attitude of thanksgiving is a powerful magnetic force that draws your good to you. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which is the smallest of all seeds. But when it grows, it becomes a tree large enough for birds to nest in its branches. Your assumption, your feeling of the wish fulfilled may seem small and insignificant compared to the vastness of your external reality. But if you nurture it with faith and persistence, it will grow into a manifest fact large enough to transform your entire life. The miracle that is coming your way is already within you, waiting for your recognition. It is not something that must be created. It is something that must be accepted. And you accept it by assuming the feeling of its reality, by living from the end. I encourage you to test this principle in your own life. Start with something small, something you can easily accept as possible. As you gain confidence in the law of assumption, you can apply it to increasingly significant desires. But whether your desire seems small or great by human standards, the principle remains the same. Assume you have it, feel the reality of possession, and it must objectify itself in your world. The Bible tells us with God all things are possible. And since God is your own wonderful human imagination, this means that all things are possible to the one who believes, who assumes, who feels the reality of the wish fulfilled. Tonight, as you prepare to receive your miracle, I urge you to remember these words: be still and know that I am God. In the stillness of your own consciousness, in the quiet of your own heart, you will find the power to transform your world. For it is in this stillness that you can most effectively assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. The outer world will present evidence contrary to your desire. It will bombard you with facts that seem to contradict the possibility of your miracle. But remember, facts are only the fruit of past assumptions. They have no power to determine your future unless you give them that power through your continued assumption. Choose instead to assume the reality of your wish fulfilled, regardless of appearances. This requires courage and persistence, but it is the path to the miraculous transformation of your world. I recall a woman who had been diagnosed with a chronic illness for which medical science offered no cure. She was told she would have to manage her symptoms for the rest of her life. But she refused to accept this verdict. Each night she would fall asleep feeling perfectly healthy and whole. She would imagine her doctor expressing amazement at her complete recovery. She persisted in this assumption for several months. At her next medical examination, her doctor was indeed amazed to find no trace of the disease. He ordered additional tests, all of which confirmed her perfect health. Medical science could not explain it, but she understood the principle at work. She had assumed a feeling of perfect health, and her body conformed to that assumption. This is the miracle that awaits each of you, the discovery of your own creative power, the realization that your assumptions shape your world. It is the greatest gift, the pearl of great price, the treasure hidden in the field of your own consciousness. As you go forward from this night, I urge you to watch your assumptions carefully. Be aware of what you are assuming in each moment of your day. Are your assumptions aligned with your desires, or are they perpetuating conditions you wish to change? Remember, your subconscious accepts as true whatever you feel to be true. If you feel poverty, you perpetuate poverty. If you feel wealth, you perpetuate wealth. If you feel sickness, you perpetuate sickness. If you feel health, you perpetuate health. The choice is yours in every moment. The miracle that is coming your way is already complete in consciousness. It exists now as a present fact in the fourth dimension. Your consistent assumption of its reality will bring it into your three-dimensional experience, your physical world. I want to emphasize once more the importance of feeling in this process. I am not speaking of mere intellectual acceptance or verbal affirmation. I am speaking of emotional involvement, of feeling the reality of your wish fulfilled. For it is through feeling that your assumption is transmitted to the subconscious, where it becomes the seed of manifestation. Tonight, identify the feeling that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. Would you feel relief, security, joy, love? Peace. Whatever that feeling is, immerse yourself in it. Let it permeate your being. Fall asleep bathed in that feeling. And you are planting the seed of your miracle in the fertile soil of the subconscious. The Bible tells us, according to your faith, be it unto you. Faith is not mere hope or wishful thinking. Faith is the feeling of the reality of that which is not yet manifest to the senses. It is the conviction of the reality of the unseen. And this faith, this feeling conviction, is a substance that will clothe itself in the material fact of your experience. As we conclude our time together, I want to leave you with this thought. You are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness is the creative force from which all things flow. The miracle you seek is already within you, waiting for your recognition, waiting for your acceptance through the law of assumption. Go forth from this place with the confidence that your miracle is on its way to you. In fact, it is already yours in the reality of consciousness. Live from that assumption, feel the joy of its fulfillment, and watch as your outer world reshapes itself to reflect your inner conviction.
Just begin by understanding a fundamental truth. Your feelings are not a reaction to the world around you, but rather they are the cause of the world you experience. This may sound strange to those of you who have been taught that your emotions are simply responses to external events. But I tell you, it is the other way around. Your emotions, your inner states, are the very substance from which your external reality is formed. Think of it this way. The world you see around you is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your inner state of being. Just as a projector casts images onto a screen, your consciousness projects your inner states onto the screen of space and time. And just as changing the film in a projector changes the images on the screen, changing your inner state changes the world you experience. Now, you might be thinking, but Neville, surely you can't deny the reality of the challenges I'm facing. How can I feel good when I've lost my job? Or when I'm facing a serious illness? Or when my relationships are in turmoil? And to this I ask you to deny the existence of your current circumstances. I ask you to deny their power over your inner state. You see, your circumstances, no matter how dire they may seem, have no inherent power to make you feel anything. Your feelings are not determined by what happens to you, but by your interpretation of what happens. And this interpretation, this meaning you give to events, is entirely within your control. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Imagine two people who have just lost their jobs. One falls into despair, feeling hopeless and defeated. The other feels excited, seeing this as an opportunity for a new beginning, a chance to pursue a long-held dream. Same external event, vastly different emotional responses. What makes the difference? It's not the event itself, but the meaning each person assigns to it. Now, you might be thinking, but surely some events are inherently negative. Surely some circumstances are objectively bad. And to this I say, there is no objective reality outside of your consciousness. What you call reality is simply a reflection of your assumptions, your beliefs, your habitual thought patterns. This is not to say that challenging circumstances don't exist. They do. But their power to affect your emotional state is entirely dependent on your choice to give them that power. You always have the ability to choose your response, to choose how you will feel regardless of external conditions. But why is this so important? Why should you strive to feel good when everything seems to be going wrong? The answer lies in the creative power of your emotions. Your feelings are not just responses to your world. They are the very substance from which your world is created. When you consistently feel good, when you maintain a positive emotional state, regardless of external circumstances, you are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. You're tuning your consciousness to the frequency of your desires, rather than the frequency of your current circumstances. Think of it like this. Your emotions are like a radio tuner. When you feel negative emotions, fear, anxiety, despair, you're tuning into the frequency of lack, of limitation, of things going wrong. But when you choose to feel good, to feel positive emotions regardless of circumstances, you're tuning into the frequency of abundance, of possibility, of things going right. And here's the key. The universe can only give you more of what you're tuned into. If you're tuned into the frequency of lack and limitation, that's what you'll continue to experience. But if you tune into the frequency of abundance and possibility, that's what will begin to manifest in your life. This is why it's so crucial to remember to feel good, especially when everything else seems to be going wrong. Because in those moments, when it's most challenging to feel good, that's when it's most important. That's when you have the greatest opportunity to shift your reality. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this just putting on a happy face and pretending everything is fine when it's not? And to this I say, this is not about pretending or faking positive emotions. This is about understanding the true nature of reality and your role as a creator. You see, When you truly understand that your inner state is the cause, not the effect of your external reality, feeling good becomes the most logical, the most practical thing you can do. It's not about ignoring problems or pretending they don't exist. It's about recognizing that the solution to any problem, the path to any desire. Let me give you another example to illustrate this point. Imagine you're in a dark room fumbling around, trying to find the light switch. The longer you fumble in the dark, the more frustrated you become. The more things you bump into, the more chaos you create. But the moment you find the switch and turn on the light, everything changes. Suddenly, you can see clearly. You can navigate easily. You can put everything in order. Your emotional state is like that light switch. When you're in a negative emotional state, you're fumbling in the dark. You can't see solutions. You can't find opportunities. You create more chaos and confusion. But when you shift to a positive emotional state, when you remember to feel good, it's like turning on the light. Suddenly you can see clearly. Solutions become apparent. Opportunities reveal themselves. Order replaces chaos. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, but Neville, how can I possibly feel good when I'm in the midst of real problems, real challenges? And this is a valid question. It's easy to feel good when everything is going well. The real test, the real opportunity for growth and transformation comes when you can maintain a positive emotional state in the face of adversity. So how do you do this? How do you remember to feel good when everything else seems to be going wrong? The key lies in your imagination. Your imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. It is, in fact, the very workshop in which you create your reality. When circumstances seem dire, when problems seem insurmountable, that is the moment to turn to your imagination. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine a reality where your problems are solved, where your desires are fulfilled. Feel the relief, the joy, the excitement of that reality. Let those feelings fill your entire being. Now, some of you might be thinking, but isn't this just fantasy? Isn't this just escapism? And to this, I say, your imagination is not a place to escape reality. Your imagination is the very place where reality is created. You see, what you imagine with feeling, what you experience vividly in your mind's eye, is not separate from reality. It is reality in its nascent state. It is reality not yet manifested in the world of physical senses, but no less real for that. In fact, it is more real because it is the cause of which your physical reality is merely the. When you imagine a better reality, when you feel the emotions associated with that reality, you are not engaging in idle fantasy. You are engaging in the most powerful, the most practical act of creation. You are impressing upon your subconscious mind the reality you wish to experience. And your subconscious mind, which knows no difference between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced, begins immediately to bring about the conditions and circumstances that match your imagined reality. This is why it's so crucial to remember to feel good, especially when external circumstances seem to be at their worst. Because in those moments when you choose to feel good despite appearances, you are exercising your true power as a creator. You are asserting your dominion over your reality. Now let's address another common concern. Some of you might be thinking, but Neville, if I feel good when things are going wrong, aren't I just deluding myself? Aren't I ignoring reality? And to this I sigh. What is reality? Is it only what your physical senses show you at this moment? Or is it the infinite field of possibilities that exists in your imagination? You see, what you call reality is simply the outpicturing of past thoughts and feelings. It's the harvest of seeds you've planted in the past. But at any moment, you have the power to plant new seeds, to imagine and feel a new reality into existence. This doesn't mean you ignore your current circumstances or act irresponsibly. It means you acknowledge your present situation while simultaneously holding in your mind and heart the reality you wish to experience. You live in two worlds at once. The world of physical senses and the world of imagination. Knowing that the latter will eventually replace the former. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Suppose you're currently struggling financially. You wouldn't ignore your bills or pretend your debts don't exist. You would continue to manage your current finances responsibly. But at the same time, you would live from the state of financial abundance in your imagination. You would feel the relief of having all your debts paid. You would experience the joy of having more than enough money for all your needs and desires. You would feel the security of an abundant bank account. And you would carry these feelings with you throughout your day, even as you're dealing with your current financial situation. This is what it means to remember to feel good when everything else is going wrong. It's about holding two realities in your mind simultaneously while emotionally residing in the reality you desire to experience. Now, some of you might be wondering, but how long will it take for my imagined reality to manifest? How long do I need to maintain these good feelings before I see results? And to this, I say, time is a construct of the human mind. In the realm of pure consciousness, where all creation takes place, there is no time. Your desire is fulfilled the moment you assume it to be so. The time it takes to appear in your physical reality depends on many factors, including the naturalness of the desire, your ability to maintain your assumption, and the current conditions of your. But here's the key. Don't concern yourself with the when or the how. Your job is simply to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and to live from that state. The universe will take care of the details. Trust the process. Know that what you have assumed must come to pass by universal law. Remember, creation is finished. All possible realities already exist. When you assume a new state, when you choose to feel good despite challenging circumstances, you're not creating something new. You're simply selecting a different reality from the infinite array of possibilities that already exist. You're tuning your consciousness to a different frequency, so to speak, and thus experiencing a different version of reality. This understanding should free you from anxiety and impatience. There's no need to worry about whether your desire will manifest. It must, for it already exists. Your only task is to align your consciousness with it through your assumption, through your choice to feel good regardless of external circumstances. Now let's talk about an aspect of this principle that many people overlook. When you truly understand that you always get what you want, that the universe is constantly responding to your assumptions and delivering experiences that match them, how can you not feel profound gratitude? Gratitude is not just a pleasant emotion. It's a powerful creative force. When you feel grateful, you're affirming that you already have what you desire. You're living from the state of fulfillment, of abundance, of your wish realized. And in doing so, you're aligning yourself even more powerfully with that reality. So cultivate an attitude of gratitude, especially when circumstances seem challenging. Be thankful not just for what you already have in your physical reality, but for what you've assumed in your imagination. Feel the gratitude of already being, doing, or having what you desire. This gratitude will transform your entire experience of life. You'll find yourself appreciating the present moment more fully, even as you're assuming a different state. You'll see the beauty and perfection in all things, recognizing them as expressions of the same divine consciousness that you are. Now, I want to address something that often comes up as people begin to apply these principles. They start to wonder, if feeling good is so important, what if I can't maintain positive emotions all the time? What if I have moments of doubt, fear, or negativity? My friends, it's important to understand that the goal is not to never experience negative emotions. Negative emotions are a natural part of the human experience. The goal is to not dwell in these negative states, to not let them define your overall emotional climate. Think of it like the weather. Just as there will always be some cloudy or rainy days, there will always be some moments of doubt or fear. But just as a few cloudy days don't define the overall climate, a few moments of negativity don't define your overall emotional state. The key is to not resist these negative emotions when they arise, but to acknowledge them, accept them, and then choose to shift back to a positive state. Remember, you always have the power to choose your emotional state, regardless of circumstances. One powerful way to shift your emotional state is through the use of affirmations. But not just any affirmations, affirmations that you feel to be true. You see, the power of an affirmation lies not in the words themselves, but in the feeling behind the words. For example, if you're facing financial difficulties, simply repeating, "I am wealthy," might feel false and create inner conflict. Instead, you might affirm, "I am open to financial abundance." All money flows to me easily and frequently. Choose affirmations that feel true to you, that create a sense of possibility and excitement when you say. Another powerful technique for maintaining a positive emotional state is visualization. Spend time each day visualizing your desired reality in vivid detail. See it, hear it, feel it, taste it, smell it. Make it as real as possible in your imagination. As you do this, pay attention to the feelings that arise. Let yourself fully experience the joy, the excitement, the relief of having your desire fulfilled. These feelings are the bridge between your current reality and your desired reality. Now, some of you might be thinking, "But Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do something to bring about the changes we desire?" And to this I say, of course, action is important, but it's not the kind of action most people think of. You see, most people believe they need to take action to make things happen. They believe they need to struggle, to strive, to force things into being. But this kind of action often comes from a place of lack, of fear, of trying to fix something that's perceived as wrong. The kind of action I'm talking about is inspired action. It's action that flows naturally from your assumed state. When you're consistently feeling good, when you're living from the state of your wish fulfilled, you'll find yourself naturally taking actions that align with that state. These actions won't feel like struggle or effort. They'll feel natural, effortless, even joyful. You'll find opportunities presenting themselves to you. You'll have intuitive flashes of insight. You'll be in the right place at the right time. This is because when you're in alignment with your desire, when you're feeling good despite challenging circumstances, you're in harmony with the creative power of the universe. You're allowing that power to work through you, guiding your actions and orchestrating events in ways that you could never plan or force. Now let's address another common concern. Some of you might be thinking, "But Neville, what about other people? What if my ability to feel good is dependent on how others treat me or what they do?" And to this I say, no one and nothing outside of you has the power to determine your emotional state. You see, other people, like everything else in your reality, are simply playing the parts that you assigned to them through your assumptions. If you assume that your happiness depends on others, then that will be your experience. But if you assume that your emotional state is entirely within your control, then that will be your reality. This doesn't mean you become indifferent to others or that you don't care about your relationships. It means you take responsibility for your own emotional state, regardless of how others behave. It means you choose to feel good, to maintain a positive emotional state, regardless of what others say or do. And here's the beautiful thing. When you do this, when you maintain your positive state, regardless of others' behavior, you'll find that others begin to reflect that state back to you. Remember, the outer world is always a reflection of your inner state. As you change, your experience of others will change too. Now let's talk about persistence. Remembering to feel good when everything seems to be going wrong is not always easy. It requires persistence, practice, and patience. There will be times when you slip back into old patterns of thought and emotion. There will be times when circumstances seem so challenging that it feels impossible to maintain a positive state. It's not about being perfect. It's about consistently returning to your desired state, no matter how many times you slip. It's about making the choice again and again to feel good despite appearances. Think of it like learning to play a musical instrument. At first, it feels awkward. You make mistakes. It doesn't sound good. But with persistent practice, it becomes more natural. The movements become fluid. The music begins to flow. And one day you realize you're playing beautifully without even thinking about it. The same is true with maintaining a positive emotional state. At first, it might feel forced or unnatural. You might find yourself slipping back into negative states frequently. But with persistent practice, it becomes easier. It becomes more natural. And eventually, it becomes your default state. Now, I want to address something that often comes up as people begin to apply these principles. They start to worry about being selfish or uncaring if they focus on feeling good when others around them are struggling. But I assure you, maintaining your positive state is the most loving, the most compassionate thing you can do. You see, when you choose to feel good, regardless of circumstances, you become a beacon of light in a world that often seems dark. You become a living example of the power of consciousness to transform reality. You inspire others not through preaching or lecturing, but through your very being. Moreover, when you maintain a positive state, you're in a much better position to help others. Think about it. Can a drowning person save another drowning person? You need to be standing on solid ground. Or better yet, in a boat, to be able to throw a lifeline to someone who's struggling. In the same way, when you're mired in negative emotions, when you're overwhelmed by challenging circumstances, you're in no position to truly help others. But when you're grounded in a positive state, when you're living from the state of your wish fulfilled, you have the stability, the clarity, and the resources to make a real difference in others' lives. Remember, too, that your state of consciousness affects not just your own experience, but the collective consciousness of humanity. Every time you choose to feel good despite challenging circumstances, you're elevating the entire human family. You're adding your light to the sum of light, making it easier for others to find their way out of darkness. As we come to the close of our discussion, I want to leave you with this final thought. Remembering to feel good when everything else is going wrong is not just a technique for manifesting your desires. It's a way of life. It's a recognition of your true nature as a divine being, as the creator of your reality. When you consistently choose to feel good, regardless of external circumstances, you're declaring your independence from the world of effects. You're asserting your true power as a cause. You're aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe itself. This is the great secret, the great truth that all the mystics and sages throughout history have pointed to. Your emotional state, your inner world, is the source of your entire life experience. As you master your inner world, as you learn to consistently feel good despite appearances, you become the master of your destiny. My dear friends, I urge you, remember to feel good, especially when everything else seems to be going wrong. For in those moments when it's most challenging to maintain a positive state, that's when it's most crucial. That's when you have the greatest opportunity to transform your life and to contribute to transformation in all world. Go forth now, armed with this knowledge, and put it into practice. Choose to feel good no matter what. Live from the state of your wish fulfilled. And watch as the world around you transforms to match your inner state. For this is the true art of living, the true science of creation. This is your birthright as a divine being. Claim it, live it.
I will share with you the most effective technique I have ever discovered. A practice so transformative that when repeated faithfully, it rewrites the very fabric of your reality. The power lies not in the complexity of the method, but in the persistence and conviction with which you apply it. What I am about to tell you is not theory, but law. It is as immutable as gravity, as certain as the rising sun. When you truly grasp this principle and apply it with unwavering faith, your world will shift with such precision that you will stand in awe of your own creative power. The technique is this. Take your desire, your wish fulfilled, and repeat it to yourself as a present fact, not as something that will be, but as something that already is. 100 times each day, affirm your desire as an accomplished fact. But the crucial detail that most miss, it is not the mere repetition of words that pH, but the feeling of naturalness that accompanies your declaration. Let me explain the profound mechanics at work here. Your consciousness, your I am, is God Himself individualized. When you declare a thing to be true while occupying the state of your wish fulfilled, you are engaging the very power that created the universe. This is not positive thinking. This is the activation of universal law. Consider this truth. Everything you now accept as reality was once merely a thought, an imagination. Your current circumstances, your relationships, your position in life, all were first conceived in imagination before they materialized in your world. The outer world is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your inner assumptions. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily, you are not engaging in mere affirmation. You are programming the depths of your subconscious mind. You are impressing upon the substance of creation itself the pattern of your desired reality. This is why the feeling is crucial. Each repetition must be accompanied by the feeling of naturalness, the feeling that your desire is already a fact. Let me share with you a secret about this practice that few understand. The number 100 is not arbitrary. It represents completeness, fullness, the totality of conviction. When you repeat your desire 100 times, you are symbolically declaring its completeness in your consciousness. You are filling every corner of your mind with the reality of your wish fulfilled. But remember this vital truth. The words themselves are merely vessels. They carry the feeling, the consciousness of your desire fulfilled. As you repeat your statement, you must feel the reality of it. If your desire is for financial abundance, you must feel the security, the freedom, the joy of that abundance. If your desire is for a loving relationship, you must feel the warmth, the companionship, the deep connection of that relationship. Many of you ask, but Neville, how can I feel something that isn't yet true? Here is the supreme secret. In the realm of consciousness, there is no yet. There is only an ovo. When you enter the state of consciousness where your desire dwells, you are actually entering the reality where it already exists. Your physical reality has no choice but to conform to this new state of consciousness. The universe you see is not outside of you. It is within you. It is your own wonderful human imagination externalized. When you repeat your desire 100 times with feeling, you are literally rearranging the universe because you are rearranging your consciousness, and your consciousness is the universe. Let me give you a practical example. Suppose you desire a particular position in your company. Instead of saying, I want that position or I will get that position, you would declare, I am so grateful to be in my perfect position doing work I love. Repeat this 100 times daily, but, and this is crucial, feel the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the joy of actually occupying that position. As you do this, something remarkable begins to happen. The people around you will begin to respond differently. Opportunities will appear that weren't there before. Circumstances will arrange themselves in ways that support your new reality. This isn't coincidence or magic, it is law. Remember, the outer world has no choice but to reflect your inner convictions. Just as your reflection in a mirror must move as you move, your external reality must shift to match your internal state. This is why persistent repetition with feeling is so powerful. It creates an unshakable conviction in your consciousness. Now, some of you might be thinking, but I tried affirmations before, and they didn't work. The difference here lies in understanding that you are not trying to convince yourself of something. You are instead occupying a state of consciousness where your desire is already fulfilled. The repetition is not to convince, but to saturate your consciousness with the reality of your wish fulfilled. Think of it this way: when you wake up in the morning, you don't need to convince yourself that you are who you are. You simply know it. This is the kind of naturalness you must achieve with your desire. Through repeated occupation of the state of your wish fulfilled, it becomes just as natural as your own name. The universe responds not to your words, but to your state of consciousness. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are systematically altering your state of consciousness. You are literally becoming the person who has what you desire. This is why the universe must rearrange itself. It is simply conforming to who you have become. Let me share another vital aspect of this practice. As you repeat your desire, you must exclude all contrary evidence from your physical senses. If your bank account shows lack, while you are declaring abundance, you must remain faithful to your inner conviction rather than the external fact. The external will change, it must change, but only after you have firmly established a new reality in your consciousness. This requires a level of mental discipline that few are willing to exercise. It is easy to accept what your senses show you. It takes spiritual maturity to remain faithful to your inner conviction despite contrary evidence. But this is precisely what separates those who manifest their desires from those who remain trapped in their current circumstances. Remember, every time you repeat your desire with feeling, you are dropping a seed into the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Just as a farmer doesn't dig up his seeds every day to check their progress, you must not constantly check the external world for evidence of your manifestation. Plant your seed through repetition, water it with feeling, and trust in the law. The law operates with mathematical precision. Just as 2 plus 2 must equal 4, your consciousness made conceit through repetition must produce its equivalent in your outer world. This is not theory, this is law. I have tested it countless times in my own life and in the lives of thousands who have applied these principles. Consider this profound truth. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see in the outer world is simply consciousness objectified. When you understand this, you realize that by changing your consciousness through persistent repetition of your desire, you are literally changing the only reality there is. This is why the universe must rearrange itself. It has no choice. It is not separate from you. It is you pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every event in your world is simply your consciousness made visible. Change your consciousness through this practice of repetition with feeling, and you change everything. Now, let me address a question that often arises: how long must I continue this practice? The answer is until your desire feels natural, until it feels more real to you than the current facts of your life. For some, this might happen quickly. For others, it might take longer. The time required depends on your ability to remain faithful to your inner conviction. Remember, time is a human construct. In the realm of consciousness, where all creation takes place, there is no time. There is only the intensity of your conviction. This is why some desires manifest quickly while others take longer. The speed of manifestation is directly proportional to the completeness of your acceptance of your desire as fact. This is where the power of repeating your desire 100 times daily becomes evident. Each repetition, when done with feeling, deepens your conviction. It strengthens your acceptance of your desire as fact. It makes your new reality more and more natural to you until it becomes impossible for you to accept anything less. Let me share another crucial aspect of this practice. As you repeat your desire, you must also repeat the feeling of gratitude for its fulfillment. Gratitude is not merely a positive emotion, it is the acceptance of something as yours. When you feel grateful for something, you are acknowledging its presence in your life. This is why I often teach that the feeling of gratitude is one of the highest spiritual frequencies you can maintain. When you combine your repetition with genuine gratitude, you are not only declaring your desire as fact, you are accepting it as already yours. This combination is unbeatable in its manifestational power. Now let's address another vital point. As you practice this technique, you must guard your mental diet with the same care that you would guard your physical diet if you were training for an athletic event. Every thought that crosses your mind either supports or contradicts your desire. This is why the repetition must be consistent and why it must be done 100 times. The number 100 creates a momentum in your consciousness that helps override contrary thoughts and feelings. It builds a foundation of conviction so strong that casual negative thoughts cannot shake it. This is the power of persistence in consciousness. Consider how a river creates a canyon. It's not through occasional powerful surges, but through constant, persistent flow. This is how you must approach your practice. Each repetition is like a drop of water, seemingly insignificant on its own, but powerful enough to reshape reality when applied consistently. Your consciousness is like a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds you plant in it. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are planting and nurturing the seeds of your future reality. Just as a garden doesn't spring up overnight, your manifestation may not appear instantly. But if you remain faithful to your practice, it must appear. This brings us to another crucial understanding. The law works with perfect precision, but it works according to its own timing. Your role is not to determine when or how your desire will manifest. Your role is simply to persist in the consciousness of your wish fulfilled through faithful repetition. Many fail in their manifestations because they try to dictate the how and when of their desires' fulfillment. This is a mistake. The how and when belong to the law. Your task is simply to persist in your new state of consciousness through regular, feeling-based repetition of your desire. Remember, the universe knows far more than your conscious mind about how to bring about your desire. It has access to infinite possibilities, infinite channels through which your good can come to you. By trying to dictate the how and when, you actually limit the channels through which your desire can manifest. This is why I emphasize feeling over forcing. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with genuine feeling, you are allowing the infinite intelligence of the universe to arrange the perfect circumstances for your manifestation. You are surrendering the how and when while maintaining absolute faith in the what. Let me share something profound about this practice that few understand. When you repeat your desire with feeling, you are actually experiencing your future in the present moment. You are collapsing time. You are bringing the future into the now. This is why the universe must rearrange itself. You are creating a new pattern in the space-time itself. If you think about this, every moment of your life, you are in a particular state of consciousness. This state is made up of your beliefs, assumptions, and feelings about yourself and your world. When you deliberately enter and maintain a new state through conscious repetition of your desire, you are literally stepping into a new dimension of experience. This is not metaphorical, it is literal. Your consciousness is the substance of reality itself. When you change your consciousness through persistent repetition with feeling, you are literally rearranging the substance from which all things are made. This is why results must follow. It is law. Now, let me address something that often confuses people about this practice. Some believe that merely repeating words 100 times will bring about their desire. This is not the case. The words are simply tools to help you maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled. It is the feeling that creates the reality. You think of it this way: when you are in love, you don't need to convince yourself that you're in love. You simply feel it. This is the kind of naturalness you must achieve with your desire. The repetition is designed to help you maintain this feeling consistently until it becomes your dominant state of consciousness. This is why I emphasize that each repetition must be accompanied by feeling. Without feeling, words are empty shells. But when you combine repetition with genuine feeling, you are engaging the creative power of the universe itself. You are literally speaking your new reality into existence. Consider the biblical phrase, "In the beginning was the Word." This refers not to mere verbal expression, but to the creative power of consciousness itself. When you repeat your desire 100 times with feeling, you are engaging this same creative power. You are speaking your world into existence. This brings us to another crucial point: the importance of persistence. Some of you might begin this practice with enthusiasm, but abandon it when results don't appear immediately. This is a grave mistake. Remember, you are reprogramming your entire consciousness. This takes persistence and patience. Think of it like learning a new language. At first, it feels awkward and unnatural, but with persistent practice, it becomes second nature. The same is true with this practice. At first, your new state of consciousness might feel forced or fake, but with persistent repetition, it becomes your natural state of being. This is why the number 100 is so powerful. It represents complete dedication to your new state of consciousness. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily, you are declaring to the universe that you are absolutely committed to your new reality. This level of commitment always brings results. Remember, the universe is not testing you. It is simply responding to your consciousness with mathematical precision. When you maintain a consistent state of consciousness through persistent repetition with feeling, the universe has no choice but to reflect that consciousness back to you in physical form. Let me share another vital truth about this practice. As you repeat your desire, you must also be willing to let go of your old self-concept. You cannot hold on to who you were and simultaneously become who you desire to be. This is why the repetition must be accompanied by a willingness to change. Many of you hold on to your old stories, your old limitations, while trying to create something new. This is like trying to fill a cup that's already full. You must be willing to empty your cup, to let go of your old self-concept, to make room for your new reality. This is where the power of 100 repetitions becomes especially significant. Each repetition is like a chisel, slowly but surely reshaping your self-concept. With persistence, your new self-concept becomes more real to you than your old limitations. Consider this: every great achievement in human history began with a change in consciousness. The Wright brothers had to believe in the possibility of human flight before they could manifest it. Edison had to maintain the consciousness of success through thousands of failed attempts before manifesting the light bulb. Your desire, whatever it may be, follows the same law. Through persistent repetition with feeling, you are creating the consciousness of your desire fulfilled. And just as surely as the Wright brothers and Edison succeeded, your desire must manifest when you maintain the proper state of consciousness. This brings us to another crucial understanding: the importance of maintaining your new state of consciousness even when your senses deny it. This is where most people fail. They allow current circumstances to pull them out of their desired state of consciousness. Remember, your senses show you the world as it was, not as it will be. They show you the effects of your past thoughts and feelings, not the reality you are creating through current practice. This is why you must persist in your new state, regardless of appearance. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are creating a new cause. The effect must follow, it is law. But you must give the law time to work. You must maintain your faith in the unseen reality you are creating through your consciousness. Think of it like planting a garden. You don't plant seeds one day and dig them up the next to see if they're growing. You trust in the law of growth. You know that if you've planted the seeds and provided the proper conditions, growth must occur. The same is true with your desire. Each repetition of your desire with feeling is like watering and nurturing your seed. You don't need to know how it will grow. You don't need to figure out the process. Your only task is to maintain the proper mental and emotional state through persistent repetition. This brings us to another vital truth: the importance of living from your desire rather than for it. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are not trying to get something. You are acknowledging what is already yours in consciousness. This is a subtle but crucial distinction. Most people practice manifestation techniques from a state of wanting or needing. This actually pushes their desire away because want and needing imply lack. When you live from your desire, when you repeat it as an accomplished fact, you are creating from a state of fulfillment. Consider this: when you have something, you don't spend time wanting it or figuring out how to get it. You simply enjoy having it. This is the state of consciousness you must achieve through your repetition practice. You must repeat your desire from a state of having, not wanting. This is why feeling is so crucial to this practice. When you combine repetition with the feeling of fulfillment, you are creating a new pattern in the universal substance. The feeling makes it real in consciousness, and what is real in consciousness must become real in experience. Let me tell you something profound about this practice that few truly understand. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily, you are actually engaged in a sacred ritual. You are performing what the ancients called true prayer. Prayer is not begging or pleading, it is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Each repetition, when done with feeling, is like a drop of water filling the cup of your consciousness. When the cup is full, when your consciousness is saturated with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, manifestation must follow. This is not magic, this is law. Consider how a mother feels about her child. She doesn't need to convince herself of her love. She doesn't need to repeat affirmations about being a mother. She simply is a mother. And this state of consciousness creates her experience of motherhood. This is the kind of naturalness you must achieve with your desire. Through 100 daily repetitions with feeling, you are becoming the person who already has what you desire. You are not trying to get something. You are acknowledging what is already yours in the reality of consciousness. Remember this vital truth. The external world has no power to prevent your desire from manifesting when you maintain the proper state of consciousness. Your circumstances, no matter how challenging they may appear, are simply shadows of past thinking. They have no power except that which you give them through your attention. When you consistently repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are withdrawing power from your current circumstances and investing it in your new reality. You are literally shifting the balance of power in your consciousness. This is why persistence is so crucial. Each repetition builds momentum in your consciousness. Each feeling-filled declaration of your desire, as fact, moves you closer to the point where your new reality must externalize itself. Think of it like learning to play a musical instrument. At first, it feels awkward and unnatural, but with persistent practice, it becomes second nature. The same is true with this practice. At first, your new state of consciousness might feel forced, but with faithful repetition, it becomes your natural state of being. Let me share one final truth about this practice. The power lies not in the words themselves, but in the state of consciousness they help you achieve and maintain. The words are like a ladder helping you reach a higher level of consciousness. Once you reach that level, you must live there. This is why I say to repeat your desire 100 times daily. This repetition helps you maintain your new state of consciousness until it becomes your natural state of being. And when this happens, when your desired state becomes your natural state, the universe has no choice but to conform to your consciousness. Remember, you are not trying to convince the universe to give you something. You are declaring what is already yours in consciousness. Through persistent repetition with feeling, you are making your desire so real in consciousness that it must manifest in experience. This is the law of consciousness, and it never fails. What you accept as true in consciousness must manifest in your world. This is why the universe rearranges itself to accommodate your picture of reality, because your consciousness is reality. Practice this technique faithfully. Repeat your desire 100 times daily with genuine feeling. Live from the state of your wish fulfilled. Do this and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your new state of consciousness. For this is the law, and the law never fails.